Welcome to Checkpoint. I'm so glad to have you here today. How was your day? And I hope it was good. Now I want to welcome you to Checkpoint. Thank you so much for all that you do for us at Checkpoint. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the shares. Thank you for the watch party on Facebook. And thank you for subscribing on our YouTube channel and also clicking on the notification bell. If you haven't done so, please join the trend and make sure you are liking our videos, you are sharing the videos, you are commenting on the videos, and you're also creating watch party. And please, if you're watching from YouTube, do subscribe on our channel and press the notification button so that you can get fresh content from us. Welcome once again to Checkpoint. Today on Checkpoint is going to be a very, very interesting topic, and I'd like you to be a part of it. So what do you do now? Begin to tell your friends and your family that Checkpoint is on. Share the videos, share the links, start a watch party. Let everyone join. I am waiting for you, your friends, and your family. Let them know that it is time for us to begin. The topic will be coming very soon. So today's topic on Checkpoint is very, very interesting. The topic is mistakes parents shouldn't make while parenting their teenagers. Mistakes parents shouldn't make while parenting their teenagers. It's going to be a very, very, very insightful program and insightful topic for you today. Now, it is important that we understand that parenting is a gift from God. All right, as long as to have children is a blessing from God, parenting equally is a gift from God. Because listen to me, it is possible that you are out there and you are so worried and so tired and so exhausted because you have hyperactive children, or because you have children who are always needing something from you. Please count it as a blessing. There are many men and women, couples everywhere who are trusting God for the fruit of the womb and they don't have. So if you are a parent, count yourself privileged. If you are a parent, count yourself blessed. And be cheerful and happy with what God has done for you. Be cheerful and happy with those little kids and those big kids, depending on the age that your kids are in. But it's important that you know that for teenagers, it is a special deal. It is important that you know how to parent teenagers. People often say that teenagers are so rebellious and always reactive, and they do things that is not expected of them. So statistics has also said that most of the young girls who became the flower were first the flower during their teenage age. Most of the young boys too, who started smoking and drinking and hanging out and having sex as young people, started as teenagers too. So it is important that you know that this is a very sensitive age for parenting. And it does not call for alarm, it does not call for panic. God has given you these children, and the same God has given you the wisdom that you require in order to parent them effectively. All you have to do is just to learn, all right? So you have to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And many of us have assumed that because our parents raised us this way, we have to raise our children that way. Some parents didn't raise their children well, and then you cannot afford to learn that kind of pattern from those kind of parents, all right? Very, very few of us have parents who did a good work with us, and because they did that good work with us, it is expected for us to carry it along and also do that same good work on our own children. But for some other parents, it's unfortunate that they had parents who were not really caring, parents who were not loving, parents who didn't really take good care of them, all right? And you cannot say, oh, that's how my parents treated me. You cannot correct your child and say, oh, that's how my parents used to correct me. Oh, that's how my parents used to talk to me. Oh, that's how my parents used to treat me. No, that is not the set pattern. So we have to learn every day. We have to get better at parenting, because parenting is a skill, it's an art, and you have to learn it. It does not come innately, all right? So some people say, oh, the moment you give birth to children, you have become a parent and you know how to parent. It's not entirely true, all right? So the moment you give birth to children, you have become a parent, but knowing how to parent is a different ball game entirely. So I want to encourage you, stay tuned, relax well. We're going to be bringing out steps and mistakes that parents should not make while parenting teenagers. So a lot of parents assume that the moment you become a parent, you know exactly what to do. It's important that you learn the art of parenting. There are people who are getting it right, and it's important that you learn from people who are also getting it right. The era of ignorance is not okay anymore. And then there are people who are adults now, and they are terrible adults because of the way they were raised. All right, so when parents make parenting mistakes with teenagers, they eventually grow with that bitterness, with that rancor and anger and all of those kind of negative attitudes, and they become terrible adults in the future. And not only terrible adults, they eventually become parents, and they release the same kind of venom that was injected into them in their teenage age into their own children, and the cycle continues. So we have seen people time and time again talk about their kind of parents they have and how it's negatively affected them, and that is what we're trying to achieve here, so that parents can parent better and become good at the art of parenting. Like I said earlier, parenting is a blessing. It is not a curse. Stop feeling exhausted. Add joy to it, because you have to come to a point where you have to tell yourself, wow, it is a blessing to be a parent, and I'm going to add all my joy, all my happiness to it. So it's very, very key that you know how to parent. And before I start talking about the mistakes that parents shouldn't make during parenting their teenagers, I would like to emphasize on something, and that is the seasons of parenting. There are 4 seasons of parenting. 4 seasons of parenting, and I'm going to take you through those 4 seasons so that you can get to know them. Number 1 season of parenting is what we call the season of immaculateness. The season of immaculateness. The season of immaculateness runs between the ages of 0 to 6 years, meaning that at that season your child is between the ages of 0 to 6 years. And at that stage is a season of innocence. All right, it's a season where the child is plain, empty, and not polluted. All right, this child has just been born at that stage, and the child is just learning how to talk, how to walk, how to make gestures, and the rest of that. At 0 to 6 years, the child is learning how to communicate effectively, how to relate with people around, how to understand who are family members, who are friends. And at this stage, it is very important that parents know the parenting skills involved. Now, there are several mistakes that parents make at this age. Some of them think, oh, my child is too young to be spanked, and the rest of that. So it's important. Even when I was breastfeeding my children, there are times when these children can become very, very mischievous, and you could even see a child you are breastfeeding and the child bites you. Now, for some mothers, they think this is okay. No, it's normal, it's expected. Yes, it is normal for the child to bite, but it is not normal for you to let the child be. So what do? A little spank in their bum, in their pampers bum, of course, because they're already wearing diapers and all of this. But when you spank a little, just measurably, not like you're trying to wound the child from the bum, all right? When you spank a little on the bum or at the back, the child will release the teeth from your breast and will not cause injury. We've had cases where a baby that was breastfeeding beat the mother with the new teeth it was growing, and then the mother had an injury there. See, don't take these things as normal. As mothers, we should learn how to spank, and spank measurably. Okay, so we don't end up injuring our children. A lot of mothers will say, oh, you will spread the rod and spoil the child, and then you see them carrying hefty sticks and things, beating their children. Personally, I don't believe much in beating. Do I say I don't beat? I do beat my kids, but not all the time. They are not animals, okay? So 80% of the time I talk. 80% of the time I scold. 80% of the time I'm reasoning with them. All right, so the other 20% is the time I used to beat, so they know that I'm not just a toothless bulldog. I am also capable of actually beating them, so that the beating does not become just a figment of an imagination. It becomes a real threat, because they know that she can really beat, but she will first stop. So there's no parenting style that I would say is the most perfect one, but we learn every day. And so I'm going to just lend a little voice to this art of parenting teenagers, and then we'll see how we go about it. But now remember that we are still at the stage of the immaculateness, the season of immaculateness, 0 to 6 years. And at this stage, this child needs love, needs affection, needs tenderness, because they're still growing. But then don't over pamper them, all right? Don't make them feel like, oh, I can do anything and get away with it, because that's where it starts. People think that at the stage of immaculateness, a child cannot be formed. But it's important that you understand that from that stage, from the moment you are still breastfeeding your child, that is when forming begins. That is when training begins. You don't wait for when they are all grown before you begin to train. You start training while they are still breastfeeding. That's when the training starts. So it's something you train all the way till they become full adults. So at this stage, the child is innocent, the child is growing, but it's important that you do all the right and draw them close to God. Let them know that there's a God in heaven. Let them know that there's a difference between good and bad. Don't allow everything. All right, that's just about it in the season of immaculateness. The second season is the season of realization. This is the age between the ages of children at this stage are between the ages of 7 and 12. At the stage of realization, they begin to realize the world around them. They begin to realize that they are male, and they begin to realize that they are female. They begin to notice a lot of growth in their bodies. They begin to notice, for some children within this age, for females, they begin to menstruate. For males within this age, they begin to have their erections and the rest of that, and the wet dreams and the rest of that. So it is important that you help the children in the proper realization. A lot of parents delegate their parenting. And when they do this, what eventually happens is that other people begin to teach your children what you should be teaching your children. And at the end of the day, because they are trying to realize everything, they're trying to understand everything. It's a stage where they're trying to understand what's happening in their body. It's a stage where they're trying to understand what's happening between adults. It's a stage where they're trying to understand how babies are made and stuff like that. And if you let the world teach them, you are doing a terrible job as a parent. If you let the world teach them first, if you let the world tell them first, they would understand that first image that the world has already created for them. So as a parent, you have to tell yourself, no, no, no. I have to be the first person to let my child know in this age of realization what should be. At the age of realization, they are already beginning to have dreams and goals and things they want to achieve in life. They are beginning to have mentors here, mentors there. They are beginning to look forward to becoming something in particular. Sometimes they eventually forget and then switch course. But what is important is that that's the age of realization. They begin to realize their potentials. They begin to realize their giftings, the things they are capable of. They begin to realize the kind of people they like and the kind of people they don't like. So it's generally the age of realization, and it's important that you be the hand that guides your child through this season. Be the parent that will guide your child through the season. Be the one that will guide them. Don't let them just realize everything. There are things that they're supposed to realize, and guide them properly. Nurture them to that point of realization. Don't let them just grow wild and then learn everything and do everything. This is very, very key. Now, the third season is called the season of discovery. Now, what makes the season of realization a bit different from the season of discovery is that at the season of discovery, they have discovered who they are. They have discovered who they want to be and what they want to do with their life. At the stage of discovery, this is the last season for training. If you want to train your child, if you want to nurture your child, this is the last season of training, because at this stage, your child is between the ages of 13 to 20. And at this stage, you have to do all that you can to make this person a matured adult, either a matured male or a matured female. So you have to tell yourself, I have to do everything in my power to make sure that these kids turn out as responsible adults. Because I tell parents this, if you don't make the right investment in your children at this stage, what will eventually happen is that they will grow up and they would make wrong investments in your own life when you are very old. Train your child well, so that when you get older and this child has to make decisions concerning your life, and this child has to make decisions concerning your remaining destiny, this child will make good and concrete decisions. See, at a particular stage in your life, you are the one making decisions for your children. At another stage in your life, you are cooperating with them to make a decision. At another stage in their life, they are making their decisions all by themselves. They really don't need your input. Then, at another season in life, they are making decisions for you because you can no longer decide for yourself. You are old, you are gray, you are tired, you are exhausted. you're even helpless because you're too old. Now, we need to understand that these seasons are all different. And when you finalize the last opportunity, you have to make all the final investment in your child is between the ages of 13 and 20. And believe you me, there are some things that will become so late if you do not start on time. If you do not start at the season of immaculateness, you have lost out some time. If you do not start at the season of realization, you have lost out of time, because at this 13 to 20, this season of discovery, some things have been formed in them. Some habits are already formed. Some attitudes have already been formed, and you may not be able to do much about it. So I want to encourage you to do all that you can as a parent. I'm not saying you should kill yourself or exhaust yourself, but fight. All right, there's a fight involved, fighting for the destiny of your children, fighting to make sure that internet does not take your children from you, fighting to make sure that television does not take your children from you, fighting to make sure that the social vices in the world and on the internet do not take your children from you. You have to fight as a parent, and fight, I don't mean physical boxing. You have to make concrete effort, take street action to make sure that you secure the children that God has given to you. So in this season of discovery, you have the last chance to do all that you can as a parent. And it is very important that in this particular season, you cannot afford to take decisions alone concerning your children. You have to carry them along in the decisions. Now, a lot of parents make this mistake, and when they do, it backfires. You have to let them know, this is why you want to do this. What do you think about it? And carry them along. All right, so this is very key in parenting. And then there is this final stage, and this final stage is the stage of independence, season of independence. This season of independence moves between the ages of 21 to adulthood, to full adulthood. Now, between these ages of 21 to full adulthood, your child is already independent. By independent, we mean your child is self-reliant. They make their own decisions. They do what they want to do. The truth of the matter is that your child may be living with you at this stage, but in all honesty, they are already doing what they want to do. All right, so they may love you, they may believe in you, they may know you care for them, but between the ages of 21 and above, they are already formed. They are already adults. And the Bible says you should train your child in the way your child should grow. The Bible says you should train your child. A lot of parents make this mistake. They refuse to train their child because they assume the child is too early for training. They refuse to train the child because they think that this child is too tender, shouldn't be doing chores, shouldn't be doing that, and then they allow the child to grow into adulthood. Now, what they don't know is that at the point of adulthood, they will look at the child and they're still trying to train this adult. Between 21 and above, your child is no longer a child. Your child is still your child, but it's no longer a baby. All right. So the Bible says, train your child in the way that they should go. Train a child, not train an adult. Let me say it again. Train a child, not train an adult. Many of us make the mistake of not training the child, then we want to train the adult. It becomes difficult. As a matter of fact, if your child still needs training at the age of 40, you did a terrible job at 14. If your child still needs training at 40, you did a terrible job at 14. So please, we want to encourage all parents listening to me. If you're not yet a parent, learn, because it will help you by the time you become a parent. But I'm encouraging everyone to do the best that we can to give our children quality parenting, from the season of immaculateness to the season of realization, to the season of discovery, then to the season of independence. We need to make sure that we are training the child, not training the adult, because an adult is already formed, an adult already has their own decisions and their own attitudes already formed. And at that stage, you may do little or nothing to change that behavior. If you do not plant that seed at the stage you're supposed to plant it, at this other season, it will be difficult for you to harvest the attitude or the character that you want. So having set this background, it's important that we go straight into the mistakes that parents shouldn't make while parenting their teenagers. Are you ready? All right, let's do it together. So number one mistake that parents shouldn't make while parenting their children is focusing only on intellectual development and disregarding the other aspects of development. Focusing only on the intellectual development of their children and neglecting the others. Listen to me, there are 4 basic quotients that every parent should make sure their children have. Unfortunately, a lot of parents focus on making sure that their children's intelligence quotient is high. So they get lesson teachers, they send them to good schools, they make sure they are passing their grades, they make sure they are passing their exams, they make sure that they're learning all that they can. And at the end of the day, the intelligence quotient of those children are so built up. Now, they forget there are other quotients that are very important. Example, like the emotional quotient. Do you know, some parents have children who are very intellectual, but they cannot deal, all right? Their emotional quotient is so low. When I talk about the emotional quotient, it simply talks about it measures the ability of somebody, of a person or a child to be able to have good relationship with people, to be able to have very good and quality relationship with people. And this is key. This is key to understand themselves and be aware of their emotions, and also be aware of other people's emotions, to show empathy and to have good relationship. Now, a lot of parents are not mindful of that, so they lock the kids at home. You have to stay on your own. You cannot mingle with all those kind of street children, and you think you're doing a child a favor. Your child becomes an emotional delinquent, all right? The child cannot fit where other people are. Once people are with them, they become uncomfortable, they become fidgety, they become withdrawn, and they cannot relate well with people. So please, parents, as you build your children's intelligence quotient, I want to encourage you to also build their emotional quotient. And not only that, also build what we call their adversity quotient. Now, the adversity quotient simply talks about it measures the ability of someone, an individual, to be able to go through a rough patch in life, to go through challenges in life, and come out without losing their mind. So some parents are doing a great job at making their children, raising the intelligence quotient of their children. Some are also contributing and making their children to have very good emotional quotient. But for some other people, and when life goes rough, things go hard, things become difficult, the child decides to commit suicide, the child decides to die, the child cannot stand pressure, they cannot stand difficulty, they cannot stand hunger. And adversity is real. It does happen to everyone, irrespective of your caliber, irrespective of your class, irrespective of your wealth, irrespective of your level in the society or your status in the society. Adversity does happen. And the question now is, how do you go through adversity? How do you help your child go through adversity? So you have to begin to teach them, let them know how you suffered, let them know the difficulties that you went through in life, so that when they begin to have their own difficulties, they can boldly say, oh, I remember when my dad told me that this and that and that and that happened to him. I can remember when my mother told me the difficulties she went through, the rejections that she passed through, and how she was able to overcome it. When a child knows this story and they know that these things actually happened to you and you were able to survive and come to the point where you are, then they'll be able to survive their own season of adversity. So this is very key. As a parent, you should make sure that you help your children through their adversity quotient so that they can become stronger and have very high adversity quotient. And finally, spiritual quotient. Very important, because see, don't raise your empty children. It is commonly said that a field not tended to, a field that is left empty will grow the rankiest weed. A field or a farmland left empty will grow the rankiest weed. It's important that we make investment in our children. So let's say our children like farmlands. We cannot allow them to just grow weeds everywhere. So it's a farmland, it is fertile. What then do? We plant the kind of seeds we want. So in your farm, if you want a corn farm, you plant corn. If you want a beans farm, you plant beans. If you want a rice farm, you plant rice. If you want a combination of all of this, and you combine all of this very well, because that's what you want from your children. Parents should learn to teach their children how to succeed in life. They should learn to teach their children how to draw closer to God, because that is the true aim, that is the true pathway to success in life. All right, having said number one mistake that parents shouldn't do while parenting their teens, I'd like to tell you number two. And number two is delegating parenting. A lot of parents delegate parenting. So parents would, in the name of being busy, in the name of having a lot of jobs, in the name of wearing many hats, and they become too busy. Now, they become too busy for their children, they become too busy to spend time with them, they become too busy to teach them the pathway to success, they become too busy to teach them the keys to virtue, all right, principles of life that can guide them, that can help them to become better. And this shouldn't be the case. Parents don't delegate parenting. All right, in my home, I delegate every other thing. But you see, one thing I will never delegate is parenting. Me, I am the only mother my children would ever have. All right, so they can have as many nannies washing clothes. They can have nannies doing all the rest of the domestic work. They can have drivers drive them to their next driver's come. But one thing they will never have a replacement of is a mother. Be a mother to your children. Be a father to your children. This is very key. This is very essential. Don't delegate parenting. I know you are busy, but while you are busy, you can find out smart ways to make sure that you spend quality time with your children. So if you're the kind of mother that is always busy, you can delegate some chores that you have to do as a person. Delegate some of those chores so that you can use that time of those chores to focus on them and focus on real parenting. Focus on guiding them. Focus on teaching them. Focus on coaching them. All right? Focus on modeling for them so that they can become the best version of themselves. It is a prayer of every parent that you have children who are better than you, children who are doing far better than you. And that's the prayer of every genuine parent. I pray this prayer for my kids. My kids will achieve more, much more, 10,000 more than I have ever achieved. And that's the prayer every parent should pray. So this is key. Very, very important for every parent. Please don't delegate parenting. Spend quality time with your children. Children spell love as time spent with them. Children spell love as time spent with them, especially teenage children. Don't stay far away from them. Don't allow them to just live their life or do their own kind of thing. Be there for them. Be available. All right? Some of you are pressing your phone. Oh, and then you're chatting away on social media, and your child says, "Please, can I talk to you?" You say, "No, not now, not now. I'm so busy. Can't you see I'm busy?" And the rest of that. Please be available for your kids. Be the parents that they need to have. Don't go looking for domestic staff everywhere and then they are doing the work for you. I have domestic staff. I have people who help out in the house. And why do I have that? So that the little time I have outside my busy schedule, I can dedicate it specifically for the children. You see, it's all about balance. And when I talk about balance, I don't mean you should, divide yourself into 4, 25% of you for your job, 25% of you for serving God, 25% of you for your children, 25% of you for your husband. That's not what I mean by balance. In balance, you cannot give equal percentage to these different aspects of your life. You cannot give equal percentage because there will be a time when your children need you 100%. Be there for them 100% of the time. And there's some other time where your job needs you 100%. You have to put in your mind, you have to be there to produce results, to become effective. Put in that 100%. Now, when to put 100%, when to put a 75%, when to put a 50%, and when to put a 25% is now entirely left for you. With wisdom, you now know when to divide this time. So I'm not saying that 25% of every of the day should be for that and to be for that. There are times it's not feasible. It's not. You cannot even calculate it because issues will come, matters will come in life that will not allow you to be always there at that 25%. But there are times when you have to leave every other person. Leave every other work, leave every other relationship, and focus entirely on being the parents that your children need. And for that time, you have to be there 100% with them. Let them have the whole of you. You are not with them and chatting on your phone. You are not with them and making calls at your office. You are not with them and doing your own personal stuff. Or you are there and fully there with them. So that's what parenting is all about. Don't delegate parenting. Hope you got that. Another mistake parents shouldn't make with their teenage children is living as a bad example for their children. It is terror. It is terrible for a parent to leave a bad example for their children, to live as a bad example for their children. Children learn by observation. Much more than they learn by shouting and scolding and teaching, they learn by observation. So they do as you do. That is why I want to encourage every parent listening to me right now. Live that example that you want your children to be. Model the life that you want them to have. Model the principles that you want to see in their lives. Model the virtue that you want to come out from their lives. See, be the example that your kids need. Go out of your way to live that example. It may be difficult, but keep doing it. Sometimes we may fail as parents. We are human beings. Alright, sometimes we make mistakes. But after making that mistake, let them know that this mistake is a mistake. It's not the right way to live. Correct it and let them watch you correct your mistakes. Alright? Model a good marriage for them. As a husband, love your wife. Don't teach your children that it is okay to beat up women. Some of you say, oh, I don't like the way my son treats women, but you're the one who started it, Oga. You're the one who started it, sir. Please, live a good example for your children. As a mother, you're a mother, and today you are a wife, next tomorrow you are a whore, moving from one person to another, sleeping with other people. Don't teach your daughters that it's okay not to be satisfied with the husband that they are married to. This is very key. Parents, fathers, mothers, model a good marriage for your children. Model it in character. Model it in discipline. Model it in the way you talk and the way you respect each other. Alright? Model it the way you love your wife. Model it the way you submit to your husband. We are their first models in life. And we as parents have to do better. We have to do better. I understand that there is a generation of parents who did not do well with us, but we can do better. We are more knowledgeable, we know better, and we should do better. So please, I want to encourage you, be the kind of parent that you would have wanted to have. Be the kind of parent that you would have wanted to have as a child growing up. Model good behavior. Don't beat traffic and then tell them it doesn't matter. And they saw the traffic light saying stop, and then you beat it. Or you saw it's the waiting light showing, and then you just beat the traffic light and telling them it doesn't matter. No. Model the right behavior. There's a particular distinct U-turn on your way. You begin to jump the barricades on the road. You begin to jump because you know you can drive. You're a smart driver. You're an excellent driver. Please model the right kind of behavior. A story was once told about a particular young child who was always looking at for what the father was doing. Because he saw the father as a model. Now, this man would always do something very specific. Every day, every evening, he would leave the house and then he would go through the back of the house and then he would sneak out into a particular bar that was close to the house. Now, but he would always make sure that the children were already sleeping before he sneaks out through the back of the door. Now, it happened on a particular day. This child had been noticing that the father sneaks out of the house after putting them to sleep. So he said, I'm going to follow my father today. I'm going to make sure that I know where he goes to. Now, this father had put them to sleep as usual and he left. Sneaked out through the back door. And when he sneaked out through the back door, this child decided to he just sneaked out and followed the father. The father had gotten to where he was going to. He came out, he looked everywhere, he did not see the father. But then he looked down and in the snow, he saw his father's footprints. And he said, wow, that is my father's footprint. And he simply put his leg in each footprint and he kept walking and following the footprint until he got to a bar. On getting to a bar, it happened that somebody had declared free drinks for everyone at the bar, and this child got a free drink equally. And as he was drinking the beer, people started murmuring, who could this child be that is at a bar drinking? Who allowed a child to be at the bar? Who is this irresponsible father that would allow his child to be drinking in a bar? And the man was saying, can you imagine all those kind of useless kind of parents? Little did he know it was his son they were talking about. And when he said, where is even the boy? And they pointed in that direction. He looked, said, I'm going to shout on this boy and send him back to his parents. On getting there, behold, it was his own son. He was flabbergasted. He was confused. How could my son get to this particular spot? And you're even drinking a beer. How did this happen? And the son said, oh, daddy, I followed your footsteps. I saw your footprints in the snow and I followed your footprints and I got to this bar. See, consciously or unconsciously, deliberately or undeliberately, your children are following you. You may not be deliberate, but you are doing this intentionally or unintentionally. You are setting a mark for your children. You are leaving an example for your children. Intentionally or unintentionally, you are teaching them how they should live. You are teaching them how they should behave. You are teaching them what they should do in life. So please don't live as a bad example to your children. Don't make that mistake. Don't live as a bad example to your children, because this is key if you want to be a good parent. All right, number 4 mistake that parents shouldn't make while parenting teenagers is that they should not show preference. I have 3 sons, David, Daniel, and Dominion. And there is a tendency for one of them to always be the one that is always answering your call, being nice to you, not afraid to work. And you know, sometimes teenagers can be lazy. But then there is this one that despite the general belief that teenagers are lazy, this one would always be available. Now, in as much as I like the fact that he's always available, he's always working, I don't show preference, and you should not either. So amongst your children, one may be hardworking. Amongst your children, one may be talented. Amongst your children, one may be more intelligent, but never ever show preference. Preference was what started the battle between Jacob and Esau. It may have started in the womb. It may have started from the birthright that Esau sold. But one thing also happened. The mother assisted Jacob to take his brother's portion. God, you may say, oh, God may have ordained it, but please, parents, don't show preferences. The moment you begin to show preferences, you begin to tell the children directly or indirectly, I love this particular one more than the rest of you. I love him more than the rest of you. I love her more than the rest of you. And when you do that, you're already creating sibling rivalry at a higher level, sibling rivalry at a great level. And some of them may take this matter to great lengths. So please, love your children equally. I know that may not be very feasible from the heart, but love your children equally. Let them know you love them equally. Don't treat one in a particular way and treat the other one in a particular way. Love all of them equally. Show them that you care. Show them that you love them. All right. Sometimes give them things to share equally. Don't make it look like, oh, this one is the one I prefer. As a matter of fact, there will be things you like in them. Okay, so let this person know I love you for this. Let this person know I love you for that. Let this person know I love you for this. And at the end of the day, they would know what mommy loves them for. They will know what mommy loves them, and they would be pushed and they will be compelled to do more. They will be compelled to do more of those good deeds. So please don't show preferences. Preferences is a sibling destroyer. All right, it can destroy your children and make them fight each other for the rest of their life, and that's not what you want. All right, so please do not show preferences amongst your children. I know one of them might be doing you proud, one of them might be making you proud, one of them might be making you so happy and excited to be a parent, but please keep a straight face. Preserve your love for them in your heart, and don't let each one know that you like this one more than the other. It creates enmity, it creates anger, it creates bitterness, and sometimes, like the case of Cain and Abel, it can make someone to kill his or her brother, and that is to the worst extent. It was because of this, because Cain saw that God preferred Abel and his sacrifice, and that was why Cain went ahead to kill Abel. So please don't let this happen amongst your children. All right. So number 5 mistake parents shouldn't make while parenting their children is that they should not make excuses for bad behavior. They should not make excuses for bad behavior. Sometimes you say, oh, these kids, they should be free to do this, they should be free to do that. Don't give them too much liberty. Don't give your kids too much liberty. Don't make excuses for bad behavior. If your child has a bad behavior, start working on it. Start working on that attitude. Start working on that habit. Start working on that misbehavior. Don't say, oh, don't worry, it's because he's still young, it's because they are still young, it's because, don't make such excuses. A bad behavior should be treated as a bad behavior. A good behavior should be treated as a good behavior, all right? So when they have a good behavior, motivate them with rewards. And when they have a bad behavior, motivate them to do good things by giving punishment. All right, so punishment will help them to make sure that they don't behave in that certain way. Again, don't excuse bad behavior, because a bad behavior excused today will eventually become detrimental to their life tomorrow. If you do not train your children well today, if you do not fight the bad behaviors that they do today, tomorrow you have to pay a lawyer to advocate for them in court. You have to pay a lawyer to advocate or to plead their case in court when they have been arrested. So some parents who did not take care of the things they should have taken care of on for their children as at when they were still young, will eventually have to pay a lawyer to release them in court, or to bail them, or to reduce their sentence in court. And how did this get to that magnitude? Because when they were still small, you excused those bad behavior. It's a particular story my parents told me about a particular young child who was a thief. And the parents kept excusing the behavior. The mother in particular kept saying, "Oh, my child, don't worry. You could never do anything wrong. Don't worry. I love you the way you are." And this boy kept picking people's pockets until he grew up. And by the time he grew up, he became the full-blown armed robber. And he kept stealing things from people. He kept killing a lot of people, even in the course of armed robbery. And eventually one day he was caught. And when he was caught, because of the number of people he had killed in the past, he was sentenced to death by shooting. And before he was shot, he said, "Please, can I have just one opportunity?" Because he was asked for his last words. And he said, "I have something to say." And I said, "What do you have to say?" He said, "What I have to say, I want to say only to my mother." And then they said, "Where is his mother?" The mother came forward. He said, "Please come closer. I can't feel your ears, because I need to really speak into your ears," because his hands were tied to the stake where he was going to be shot. And then the mother kept coming close so that he can hear what the son was saying. By the time the mother came close and the boy's mouth got close to the mother's ear, the mother thought he was going to tell her something important or something dear to him. The boy just beat the mother's ear off. He put his teeth on the mother's ear and beat it till he beat it up. The woman was shouting, the woman was screaming, she was scared, she was confused. Why would my son bite my ear? By the time he spit out the mother's ear, he opened his mouth and said, "I beat out my mother's ear because people were telling her that she was raising me wrongly, and she refused to listen to them, and she did not train me well, and she excused all of my bad behaviors. And today, see where I am. I'm about to be shot dead because of my bad behaviors that were excused when I was growing up." So don't be like that mother, and your children will not be like that particular child, because you do all the right things by your children to make sure that they grow up as well as they should. All right, so number 6 mistake that parents shouldn't make while parenting their teenagers is that they assume they are too tender for chores or too tender for reprimand. See, if you don't let your children do chores at home, you don't let them sweep, you don't let them wash plates, you don't let them wash some clothes, you don't let them do some certain things, you are raising them for disaster. Because they will just grow up and they will assume that they are the better people, and there are people that must be doing the cleaning, people that must be doing the sweeping, people that must be doing the washing. Let your kids wash their clothes. I know that there's some precious clothes that you may want to be dry cleaned, so that you can preserve the clothes and the clothes will not be damaged. But then their house clothes, their t-shirts, their boxers, their skirts, their inner wears, please allow them to wash it by themselves. As a matter of fact, by the time you get to the season of discovery, that is between the ages of 13 to 20, your kids should learn how to start doing stuff for themselves, washing their clothes by themselves, washing cleaning their rooms by themselves, doing stuff for themselves. Don't allow them to create that life of independence, okay? Because it's not healthy. It's not healthy for them at all. You have to make sure that your children are able to stand by themselves, are able to do stuff by themselves. You know, they have this kind of entitlement spirit, like, there are people who are meant to be doing the cleaning and the washing, while I'm meant to be doing the studying. That way will not amount well. That way will result in you having a very lazy child, and a child that will not be useful to you in the nearest future. So please, hard work does not kill. Inculcate the attitude of diligence into your children. Inculcate the attitude of hard work and love for work. An Igbo adage would always say that the sandy hand eventually leads to an oily mouth. A sandy hand eventually leads to an oily mouth. It's very true for farmers who eventually have to cultivate the ground and till the ground, and eventually after planting they are able to harvest and have an oily mouth. So please teach your children that a sandy hand will eventually lead to an oily mouth. Let them know that it is very, very key for them to do chores at home, and those chores create discipline in them. Those chores create attitude of hard work, an attitude of starting something and being able to finish. So please let your children know that chores will not kill them. Chores are not for the lazy people. Chores are not for the less privileged. Chores are not for people who are not privileged in life. Chores are not for people who do not have the kind of parents they have. Chores is for everybody. Alright, chores are for everybody. Everybody has to be part of the home chores. Let them know it will not kill them. Washing that little plate will not kill them. Washing that little clothes will not kill them. Sweeping the house will not kill them. Sometimes send them on errand. Alright, don't follow your house helps all the time. Sometimes tell them to do this and do that. Make sure that any job, any house chore you give them is age appropriate. So don't send your little child of 10 or 12 to the generator. Be careful. Alright, don't say because I want them to do chores, I want them to do everything. You say, oh please, this light is not working. Can you go up and find out why the wires are not working in the ceiling? See, there are chores that are age appropriate. Make sure that you're giving them chores that are relative to their age, because if you give them chores that are not in accordance to their age or relative to their age, you'll be destroying them eventually. And you want to be a good parent, don't you? So please do go ahead and do what is right. Now, another mistake that parents shouldn't make while parenting their teenagers, number 7, is making decisions that affect them without their input. Making decisions that affect them without their input. You need to understand that, especially when your child gets to the season of discovery, that is the season of between the ages of 13 to 20, that you should let the child in on the plans that you have for them. So you may have decided their nursery school, you may have decided their primary school, you may have even decided their junior secondary, but by the time they begin to get to senior secondary, let them have a say in what concerns them. So you want to buy a clothes, let them know if they really like the clothes. If you want to put them in school, let them know if the school is okay for them. Carry them along. Create a buy-in. Alright, allow them to buy into whatever it is you want to do for them before you actually do it for them. Don't impose it on them. Alright, don't become very autocratic or enforce, oh, you must, this is what I want you to do, you must do it. No. When you're making a decision that affects your child, your teenager, please carry them along. This is one thing my parents did excellently with us growing up. My father and my mother would always call us, we are always having family meetings, okay? So they'll call us and say, this is what we want to do, this is what we plan to do, but how do we go about doing it? And they hear us. So because of that, because I always knew that if anything happens in the house, I would have a say, I will have an input. It made me to start reasoning on time. It made me to start thinking on time. It made me to start becoming responsible on time. It made my brain to enter into a default mode that always says, what should be done now? What can be done now whenever I see any problem? And because of that, it has paid off for my parents in a very long run. It has paid off for them even in old age, because the decisions I have made concerning myself, concerning my family, concerning my siblings, concerning them, have been excellent and beautiful decisions because they inculcated these things into me. So this is very key if you must be an excellent and effective parent. Make sure that you create their buy-in before you take a decision. If you have a decision that is going to affect them, make sure you receive their input. Make sure you receive their suggestions. Walk around it. I'm not saying that everything they say you must do. No. I'm not saying that you must do everything they say, but please hear from them. It's possible they may have 1 or 2 ideas that might help readjust your plan and make it a better plan. Number 8, a mistake parents shouldn't make while parenting their children is leading them autocratically. Alright, failing to understand the dynamics of parenting. Don't lead your children autocratically. Oh, this must happen. I am the Lord Manor of this house. What I say must stand. Oh, you cannot do this. You must not do that. These are the do's and the don'ts of the house. There's no way to raise a teenager. They will rebel against you. They will become stubborn and heady and make alternative plans. Growing up, I saw children who have clothes they call house clothes and school clothes. In school clothes, they have all kind of rubbish wears, very naked, nude wears that they wear and they're almost naked, but they cannot bring it home because these parents have made rules and do's and don'ts. And there's no confidence, there's no relationship between them. As a parent, you have to be a friend to your child. As you are playing the role of being a parent, you are also playing the role of being a friend, you are playing the role of being a teacher and a coach to them. So please do not lead them autocratically. Do not try to parent them autocratically, all right? Correct them in love. If they've made a mistake, correct them in love. Let them know that this and this is not supposed to happen. This and this is not supposed to be part of the story of your life. You have a story to make. You have an open book before you, and that open book is your life. You are the hero of that story. You are the shero of that story. Write the story the way you want it to be told, and let your kids know that even when they make a mistake, those mistakes can be corrected. They can wake up from it. And there are mistakes that are almost permanent in life, but then it is important that they don't live lives that will eventually lead them to making those kind of permanent kind of mistakes. Correct them in love. And you parents, accept it when you are wrong. I know that we African parents are never wrong. You know, when a child tells you, oh mommy, oh no, that was not, I am always right. African parents, I know you are never wrong, but please, you will set a good legacy for your children if you're able to accept your mistake, if you're able to admit it when you are wrong. Let them know that, oh, this is a mistake. I made a mistake, but I'm going to correct it. I'm going to do it better next time. That way they know that it is okay to make mistakes, and it is also okay to rise up from your mistakes. Don't say, oh, I am never wrong. Oh, mommy is never wrong. Oh, dad is never wrong. That is not right, all right? I know this might not sit well with a lot of us African parents, but that is the way to go. Admit it when you're wrong. Correct them in love. Don't lead them autocratically. Understand the dynamics of parenting teenagers. Teenagers are to be parented with love, not autocratically, not by force. Because you make them stubborn, more stubborn, you make them rebellious, you make them use their creative minds to make plans that are outside the scope of your own understanding. Whether you like it or not, they are smarter. I know you might be a smart parent like I am, but believe you me, these kids coming up, they are really smarter. And God made it so, because the later will always be better than the former. So please accept it and carry them well and lead them well and parent them very well. All right, number 9 mistake that parents shouldn't make while parenting is that parents should not love their children based on what they think love is. They should love their children based on how the children want them to be loved. They should love their children based on what love means to them. Let me say it again. Love your children based on what love means to them. Mistakes that parents make is that they don't love the children based on what love means to them. So a child who always wants quality time, you're always giving that child gifts. So there is quality time, there is gifts, there is words of affirmation, and there is physical touch. And you cannot afford to love this child in another way. Maybe a child who always loves physical touch. Like, my boys love to hug, all right? So, and I taught them that, and they love it. And one of the ways through which I show them that I love them is either by touching their chin, or hugging them, or holding their head. And it shows them that they feel loved. All right, they love it. They want to be hugged. They want to feel the touch of my body on them. And then, if this is what your children love, don't always give them words of affirmation. You're a good boy, and you're out there. No. This may be your own interpretation of love, but that is not your children's interpretation of love. So don't love them the way you think they should be loved. Love them the way they want to be loved. So you have physical touch to love them with. You have words of affirmation telling them, you're a good girl, you're a good boy, you are making me proud, I love you, I know you're going to be great tomorrow. That's words of affirmation. Quality time, spend time with them, all right? Play with them, dance with them. Sometimes I go to my kids' room and I say, oh, I am here for some raps. And they'll be like, what? And then they are shouting, and then we are rapping, we are making noise everywhere. And my husband will be like, what are these people doing? But so I'm just trying to have time with them. And this time is not, I won't say we're having quality time, and then I'm pressing my phone. Oh, who is chatting me up? Oh, who am I missing? Oh, no, you can't be doing that. That's not quality time. Quality time is spending time with them the way they want time to be spent. So if they want us to draw, we can be drawing. We can get sheets and board sheets and paints and colors, and we begin to draw. We draw things and we paint, and we begin to figure out whose own is better, whose own is smarter. And then we begin to make reasons why our own drawings are better than each other. Spend quality time with them. Sometimes we are dancing, everybody's dancing and sweating it out. Sometimes we're exercising together, everybody's just burning some calories. all together. Sometimes there are several ways through which you spend time. Sometimes you spend it out eating as a family. So we eat out and everybody's happy, everybody's chatting away. Sometimes you spend it playing. There are several ways to spend time with your family. See, this life is not supposed to be too hard. This life is not supposed to be too difficult. This life is not supposed to be too strange. You make up your mind to have fun with the children that God has given to you. I know it is hard being a parent. I know it's hard being the one providing. I know the country and the economy might not be helping matters, but you own your children good memories in life, all right? Let them remember this time spent with you. Listen to me. It won't be long and they are gone. It won't be long and they are out of the house. David keeps reminding me that it's just a year plus he'll be out of the house for university, and I am aware of that, and I'm doing everything in my power to create beautiful childhood memories so that by the time he goes out, he always thinks of home. He always misses home. See, you can create those beautiful moments and memories for your children. Don't make the house be like a horror movie for them. Don't make the thoughts of coming back at home be like thoughts of horror because, oh, daddy will be shouting and mommy will be serious and nobody has time for us. No, please don't make your home like that. Spend time with them the way they want time to be spent with them. Give them gifts. Give them gifts. A gift does not have to be expensive to be nice. Sometimes just give your kids gifts. Go out, buy something. Gifts does not have to be expensive, okay? Buy something that is nice. Something that just tells them, I was thinking about you. Something that just tells them, oh, I love you, son. I love you, daughter. Buy gifts for them. So there are gifts, there is physical touch, there is words of affirmation, there is gifts, and there is acts of service. Do something for them. Sometimes they feel love when you do something for them. All right, so help them out with their homework, help them out with their particular chore, help them out to fix something that is already broken that they want to get fixed. Help them out, teach them some skills, teach them how to ride a bicycle, teach them how to fish, teach them something. Acts of service, all of these, and quality time, all of these help these kids to know that they are truly loved. So in this aspect of love, find out from your kids, what is their own love language? Is it acts of service? Is it physical touch? Is it words of affirmation? Is it gifts? Or is it quality time? So find out what it is that speaks to them. Find out what the love language that makes them feel love and give it to them. That way you will become a very, very excellent parent. All right, the number 10 mistake that parents shouldn't make while parenting teenagers is allowing the teenager to come in between you and your spouse. Allowing the teenager to come in between you and your spouse. Now, they have possibly gone through they've gone through the season of immaculateness. They have gone through the season of realization. Now they are in the season of discovery. They now know, they have discovered that daddy does not like this. They have discovered that mommy does not like this. And sometimes they try to bring their heads together. Don't let that happen. Don't let them come between you and your husband. So if your husband has already said a no to a particular decision, don't make them make you to say yes. Because if they know they can manipulate either their daddy or their mommy, they will keep manipulating them. Alright, so please, if your husband has already said no to a thing already, please just stand by his side. If your wife has already said yes to a thing already, just stand by her side. Please don't let them come in between you. If they discover that if they meet another person, that the other person will say something contrary, and then both of you begin to fight amongst each other, don't let that happen. In their mind, they may not know the full implication of what they are doing. They may just think, I just want to have my way. But if they do know that this is going to break the marriage apart or destroy the family, they may not do it. But the truth of the matter is that you cannot allow them to manipulate you like that. Don't let them decide what is happening in your marriage. Don't let them decide what's happening in your home, because this is very, very key. A lot of parents are falling into that trap and their teenagers are manipulating them left, right, and center. That should not be the case. So please, I want you to stand strong as a parent and do what is right by your children. Alright, so don't let them manipulate you. Don't let them knock your heads together. Don't let them bring conflict between you and your spouse. This is very, very key. Try this and it will help. Alright, so number 11 mistake parents shouldn't make while parenting teenagers is not giving them sex education. Sex education is key. In sex education, we simply let the children know what their body parts are, what the genitals are really called, not the ones that are called wee-wee and poo-poo and the rest of that. Let them know what the genitals are truly called. Teach them step by step. This is what happens. As you grow, this happens. As you grow, this begins to happen. You begin to notice this in your body. You begin to notice these changes in your body. Now, God is putting these things there so that eventually when you grow and you get married to somebody that you love, you both can live together and have your own family and produce your own children together. Let them know what these things are. Because if you don't, and you're like, oh, my kids are too young to hear something like that, they're already hearing it. They are hearing it from neighbors. They are hearing it from internet. They are hearing it from the phone that you gave them to do their homework, and from the laptop that you gave them in the house. They are already seeing and watching a lot of terrible things. Be the first point of call about sex education. When you can freely tell them what sex education is all about and educate them appropriately, what eventually happens is that they feel free to tell you the changes going on in their body. They tell you about the hair growing. They tell you about that they need to shave. They tell you about the menstrual cramps and the menses coming out. They tell you about everything. They tell you about when their breast is burning them, when it's about to grow. They let you know all of this. So please, parents, don't be shy to teach your children sex education. Many of us grew up with parents who were very shy and timid and scared to tell us about sex education. They could tell us about every other thing, they could warn us about every other thing, but they could not educate us properly. And luckily, someone like me, I was able to learn through the right channel, but not many young people like me were lucky. Some learned it through the bad way, some learned it through the wrong channels. But I was grateful that I was able to read Christian books on time that were able to educate me in this area. Thank God for people like Tim LaHaye and his wife, and several other Christian authors that I read that helped to educate me in the concept of sex as an adult. And I was able to understand. Now your kids want to understand, and that understanding, they are going to get it whether you are aware or not. They will either get it from the uncles that live around your house, or from the aunties that live around the house, or from their classroom teachers, or from the internet, or from the television, or from even the cartoons. These days, cartoons carry weird stuff. So please, parents, do all that is in your power to educate your children well. You cannot make that mistake of not educating your child, giving your child the right sex education. Sex education will make them a very complete person, and they will know. Many times, imagine a teenager asking a parent, where do children come from? And you're telling children come from heaven, or they fly them from the sky. Very soon they will learn the wrong one, and they will learn and when they learn, they would even believe the outsider better than you, because they feel that you are hiding things from them. So teach them the right thing, and teach it age appropriate. There's sex education that is age appropriate. You cannot teach everything all at once. Let them know that anything that is done in secret is evil. Anybody who tries to touch any part of your body is evil, and you should tell your parents. Let them know ahead of time that such people can tell you, don't tell your parents, and if you tell your parents, I'll kill them, and threats like that. Let them know, let them be aware of what sexual predators will likely say and likely do, so that when they encounter these things, they know exactly what to do. I wish all the parents well. I wish you would really watch this video and learn, and if you have already learned, kudos to you. Keep doing that great job, because you're raising an individual that will become a responsible adult in the future. And finally, the number 12 mistake that parents shouldn't make while parenting teenagers is thinking that they are too young to serve God. Don't think that your child is too young to serve God. That child was given to you for a reason. That child was given. God said in his word, I know Abraham, that he will command his household after me, that he will show his children how to serve me. God said, I know Abraham. I have this confidence in Abraham. Genesis 18 verse 19. Please lead your household well. Show them the way to God. Let them see you serving God, and they will know that serving God is not slavery. Let them know that serving God is not slavery. When they see you passionately serving God and serving God happily, not the kind of serving God, you serve God happily in church, and then when you come back, you complain at home. These children have ears, they have eyes, and they watch what you do. They hear what you say at home about your pastors. They hear how you complain about pastor stressing you out and pastor making you uncomfortable. So they know that serving God is slavery. It is stressful. Please, serving God is not stressful. God said if we obey Him and serve Him, we'll spend our days in prosperity and our years in pleasure. God is interested in making us good. God is interested in making us better. God is interested in advancing our lives. I want to encourage all parents listening to me right now. Please do all the best that you can and avoid these mistakes. Understand the different seasons that are involved in parenting and parent with joy. Know that when you parent them well, tomorrow they will become better parents. And when you parent them well, a day will come when you are old and weak and gray, and they would make proper decisions, better decisions concerning your own life and the rest of your life, and even the things that you have left here after you are gone. So please, I want to encourage you parents, do the best. God will help you. It's not easy to be a parent, but it is one of the most rewarding things. I would tell you personally, I am someone who wears a lot of different hats, but believe you me when I tell you that parenting is one of the best, most rewarding hats I have ever worn, and I am still wearing, and I'm glad to be a parent, and I hope you are too. And if you're out there and you really want to be a parent and you have been believing God for the fruit of the womb and trusting God and you haven't gotten, my prayers are with you. I pray that the Lord redeem you. I pray that the Lord heal you. I pray that the Lord restore you and give you your own children. You deserve children, and God is a rewarder of those who diligently seek Him. He is a giver of good gifts, and He will give you your own child. Between today and the next 9 months, you will celebrate on your behalf concerning the gift of your own child. Take it and receive it right now. If God gave to me, God can give to you. He is the giver. The Bible says that Ruth knew Boaz, but God gave conception. Ruth can know Boaz all the life, but what matters is when God gives conception. So a man and a woman can end up sleeping with themselves over and over again, but what determines having children is God. God is the giver of that beautiful gift. And I know that when God gives you, you also become a very dedicated and efficient parent because of the lessons you have learned today. Now, until I come your way again, keep making a positive, indelible mark in the hearts of people and on the sands of time. God bless you. I love you. Bye.